All right, welcome back to another of the 100 Days of Vibe Coding games. Today, this will be the fourth day, and I'm going to try something a little different. So, the last video, I used Cursor. The two videos before that, I used Visual Studio Code's Copilot using Claude 3.7 Sonnet in agent mode. This time, I'm going to use Firebase Studio because I experimented with it a bit yesterday with this app that I'm calling Literaturity. It's kind of a clumsy name, maybe, I'm not sure, but I'll maybe show you guys that at some point in the future. I'm still working on it. But for now, let's do our fourth of the 100 days of vibe coding. We're going to have Firebase Studio just make a random game. So kind of like we did yesterday, since today is Mother's Day, I'm going to do something quick because then I got to get back with my family, spend some more time with my wife, and then head over to my mother-in-law's. So let's just go ahead and tell it, make a random game. Prototype with AI. Boom. Let's see what happens. I'm pretty sure Firebase Studio uses Gemini 2.5 Pro now. I don't think it necessarily always has, but what's it going to make for us? A random, unique quest objective, blah, blah, blah. Reward for the objective. I have no idea what this is going to look like. We'll see. Prototype this app. Based off of the descriptions it's giving here, I really don't know what to expect. TypeScript, blah, blah, blah. So is it going to make some kind of like React app? I don't know. Did it say up here? I don't think it said what it's going to make. No. So we'll see here. One of the things I liked when I was playing around with Firebase Studio yesterday is it is entirely in the browser. So even if you have like a very slow computer, that's not going to really impact the performance here, right? Your internet speed maybe to some extent will impact the performance, but it's all happening in the browser. It's all using Google's, infrastructure here. So, and then it's also, it seems like it's going to be fairly seamless to be able to deploy whatever you build in here. Speaking of deploying, one thing I forgot to do in the third video, I just realized, was to create a Git repo and and then sync it up over with GitHub. So I'm going to have to try to remember to do that at some point for number 3, as well as for this one, because I haven't quite gotten around to fiddling around with Git and GitHub in Firebase Studio. But yeah, let's see. While it's building this, I'll talk a little bit about Literaturity, I guess. It's a project that I've had bouncing around in my mind, and I've played around with using Visual Studio Code GitHub Copilot to make it. I've played around with Cursor to make it, and so far I like what Firebase Studio has generated the most. And so not in one of these 100 days of vibe coding games videos, but in some other video I make, I'll start to show what that is. Essentially, it's a collaborative e-reading literature studying tool, primarily focused on public domain works like classic literature, so anything that's in the public domain in the United States at least. So it's kind of a combination of the Hypothesis browser add-on extension. Not sure if you've ever played with that, but you should check it out. It allows you to annotate anywhere on the internet, which is pretty cool. It's got some social aspect to it. So I'm integrating that into basically something like Project Gutenberg, but with a much cleaner, modern, minimal interface. Let's see, a wild error appeared. So there's an error. I'm going to click on this before we try even playing the game. Then it should, oh, I see what happened. We need to auto-generate Gemini key. So what that indicates to me is that it's using Gemini somewhere in this application. So some sort of artificial intelligence is being used in this game, which is cool. It did that without me asking with my Literaturity app as well. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, still getting an error. So I'm going to click this. And then see over here, it tells you, oh, we detected an error. Let's go ahead and fix it. So I click fix it. Interesting. I don't know why it's telling me I need a Gemini key again, but let's see if this will just let us go here. Your QuirkyQuest. Find the legendary tickle feather of Mount Giggle and use it to awaken the sleeping Snugglepuff guarding the Rainbow Sherbet River. So it's obviously sort of automatically generating these names and these quests. A self-folding laundry basket woven from singing spider silk that only accepts socks, and a lifetime supply of giggleberries, which induce uncontrollable yet strangely insightful hiccups. Do I have to like pick one? No. For your troubles you shall receive. So I was saying this is the quest. If you go through with this quest, you get this. Good luck adventure. It doesn't look like there's anything you can do to actually play it. And then you just re-roll quest. So this would be cool as a feature in a game, you know, kind of one of the mechanics in the game. You know, if you want part of your game to include something like random quest generation, this is good for that. Doesn't really feel much like a game yet though, right? This is just like more of a narrative generator. Not quite happy with that. Let me see. I really don't have much time this morning, but go ahead and click over here to auto-generate the Gemini key. It's just going to refresh the app. Okay, so I'm going to say, okay, it seems like this generates quests and rewards, but there doesn't seem to be anything to actually play. Make this more like a game. Keeping it vague because I want to see what it's going to make up for me. When we get back to tomorrow, Monday, I'm going to come with a game idea right off the bat, something specific. And not sure what tool I'm going to use yet. Maybe Windsurf. We'll try Windsurf next. I think there's another tool like Firebase Studio. Is it called Lovely or something like that? I might try that. I'm thinking, you know, I could ask it to make a Pac-Man clone, a breakout game, Pong. I could ask it to make a roguelike, you know, some kind of simple roguelike. So with ASCII graphics. Seems like this is taking a little bit. Should start doing something soon. I thought of some ideas to improve on some of the games that we built earlier in this series. So these are going to be, I'll make some videos on those ideas and see how AI does with implementing those ideas. But those things will be outside of the 100 days of VibeCoding series, because I want each one of these 100 days of VibeCoding to be a different game. So I'll have these parallel series that are going on. One of the ideas I had was that the bubble click game, I think that was that yesterday's? Yeah, that was yesterday's. It'd be cool to implement a peer-to-peer multiplayer where whoever clicks the most bubbles wins, kind of thing. I'm assuming I would want it to use like WebRTC, which allows for, you know, peer-to-peer communication. The tricky part of that would be the timing. You know, is one player going to be able to see the bubbles before the other, and then that would make things unfair. Yeah, I'm not really impressed with this just yet, because now it's all wow, I completed the quest just by clicking it. So This is not very fun. Resounding success for your valiant efforts. You have received this monocle thing. Blah blah blah. So it's quirky. It's funny, but it's still not really a game. Embark on a new quest. This should just generate again another quest. What you get as a reward, and then you click I've done it. Oh, no, okay. So it's cool. It's got your past rewards. So if I click I've done it. All right. What can we integrate into here? We've already done rock, paper, scissors. We've already done guess the number, bubble clicking. Let's say can you add a coin flip mechanic where the user has to guess heads or tails, and if they guess correctly, they complete the quest. So keeping it super minimal, right? The agency on the player's part is simply just flipping a coin or guessing what the coin flip is going to be. And if they guess right, then they win. So what this essentially amounts to is a very fancy coin toss game. So not very complex, but I do like, here's a few things that I liked about this. I like the UI. It's nice and clean, modern, maybe even a bit much for what it needs to be, but I like how it randomly generates quests and rewards. That's great. I like that you get to keep a rolling inventory of your rewards for completing things, but there's just no agency involved. I would like there to be some sort of agency where a player could win or lose, and the minimal barrier to entry for that sort of requirement is a coin toss or a guessing at a coin toss. So we'll see what this does here. Right. Now it's just checking for errors. I do like the general Firebase Studio user interface in general. It's pretty cool. And I'll show you right after this that you can switch between this prototyping view and the code view as well. So if you wanted to go in, customize the code yourself in a hands-on sort of way, you can absolutely do that as well, which is great. When you do go to publish something, I believe you do have to sign up for like pay-as-you-go for the Google infrastructure behind your app, which if you have something very simple that doesn't require a lot of data transmission and stuff like that, it could very well be that you're paying $0. But you got to be careful with that stuff. You know, all of these infrastructures like Google Cloud and AWS and all that, they can add up without you knowing it, and a little bit of sloppy coding here and there can turn into using a lot more resources than is really necessary. Especially, I'm assuming, especially if you're using AI. I wouldn't, as much as it's really cool what AI can do right now with coding agents, I wouldn't trust it with anything that's going to potentially, where it has my credit card in its hands. I'm going to guess heads for collect 7 uniquely flavored giggling pickles from the Whispering Woods to appease the blah, blah, blah. Heads. I failed. Try another quest. I'm going to guess heads again. Quest complete. I got it. All right. I think that's good enough for today. So today we experimented with Firebase Studio with this 100 Days of VibeCoding Games series. Started out a little rocky, all right, where it didn't really make us a random game, even though I asked it to make us a random game. It just gave us a random quest generator and reward generator, which is cool. And it allowed us to kind of, after that, I asked it to make it more like a game, and then it gave us a, complete quest button, something like that. And it added our rewards to our history, which is great. right? These are all good features, but we don't want to be able to just click complete quest without having any sort of risk of losing. So I asked Firebase Studio Gemini 2.5 Pro to go ahead and implement a coin toss. Made it a little bit more like a game. We'll experiment more with Firebase Studio in the future. Next video, I'm probably going to bring a game idea with me this time. Some of the ones that I mentioned earlier in this video. Something simple again. I'm not sure what we're going to use yet. Visual Studio, Cursor, Windsurf, Lovely, Firebase Studio, one of these tools. If you like this video, like, subscribe, comment, give me some ideas, and, give me some pointers even. But until then, happy coding.